Looking for a new car or expert service? Visit Limerick Motor Centre, your main Hyundai dealer on the Ballysimon Road. A proud family business for over 30 years, we're Ireland's longest-serving Hyundai dealer. With sales, service, parts and finance all under one roof, our dedicated team delivers value, expertise and customer care you can trust. Call 061 417 141 or visit limerickmotorcentre.ie. Limerick Motor Centre, driving with you for over 30 years.
The impression again we get out with what you put into it. It's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
Not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
If your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence, you can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well done, Shawnee Buckley. To do that to Tomas O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Carey. Carey leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it hard.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
Hello, good evening, good morning, or wherever you're joining us from. It is Treaty Talk. It is episode 359, and with a fresh haircut, it is myself, Tom Clancy, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined, as ever, by Matt O'Callaghan of the Weekly Observer and Vale Star newspapers. Matt, I have a prediction that it'll be a smaller, shorter podcast for us this week. We're coming to the quiet time in the calendar, which is, of course, December. We're in amongst it, but we've still a bit of action to discuss on the field, and we'll be maybe taking a brief look ahead at what's to come in 2026 as well.
Yeah, but maybe we might have a short, good evening everybody, I should have said before stop, but maybe we might have a short podcast this week, but we're going to have one or two special podcasts coming up next week, the next on Christmas with very special guests on it, which, you know, would be something for people to look forward to. We'll be disclosing that in due course, I presume. Yeah, Tom, domestically, everything is winding down now. We're down to the under-20 football championship, and I was out at the Southport convention last night, and there was a brief discussion on it, and Frank Reedy, who was there, was chairman of the CCC, and I think he reiterated a point that we have made here, actually, that particular competition has run into difficulties this year due to the availability of pitches. Because the really inclement weather that we've had, and like when I got up this morning and went out in the yard was dry, and half an hour later there was a little amount of water coming down. So much water fell so quick, and you can imagine what that's doing to pitches. Yeah, look, there's a bit of pressure on at the moment about the under-20 championship, the under-20 football championship, to get it done within the calendar year. Now, there's one game supposed to be on tonight between Ballylanders and the Piersic. It's on under the new lights in Ballylanders. We'd like to congratulate the Ballylanders club. I know I'm self-congratulatory at this stage, but they have, you know, a fully lit pitch now, which is up to match standard, and the more of these that we can get around the county, the better. But it's a very, very important game in the context of that group, and I know, Tom, that we're going to be discussing the various groups afterwards, but it will conclude the group phase of that group at least to give us two semi-finalists. But it has been a nightmare, in fairness, for the CCC and those that are tasked with the job of making the fixtures, to try and find venues. And Tom, I have to be sympathetic with those that have the venues for not making them available, because such is the damage that can be done on pitches at this time of the year. It's a totally unfortunate situation, but like, there was a figure thrown out there last night at the South Convention, and I've no doubt it is absolutely correct. Totally, that the board oversaw the running of 1,500 games this year.
Yeah, that's from under 18, 20s,
yes,
and obviously all the adult grades, the whatever 13 or 14 adult grades we have between hurling and football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Referee Dan O'Halloran was at the convention and was talking to him after when the convention concluded, and like he doesn't think that the number of games that he refereed across both adult and underage and challenge and everything in the past year stops at 100.
No, and I'd say not, and I know John wouldn't be, in the cohort of referees that would be out, shall we say, every night of the week, but I certainly would feel probably that he's out quite frequently. There are some referees, I'm sure, who are approaching 200 games in this county.
Yeah,
and some of them
is certainly not prone to exaggeration, but that will give you a sense of the pressure that's on everybody. And we'll be talking about referees shortly, because Mike Reardon made a very good point about it, and sounded a warning in his county convention report about the lack of referees and the problem in getting new referees on board.
Yeah, we'll come to that in a moment. I think we should say on the 20s team for now. We'll start with, I suppose, a look at the fixtures and maybe a broader discussion then about some of the pitfalls that have come up in the championship. The Premier Football match, we know 6 teams started in it. Kildown, Pallaskenry have been eliminated with 2 defeats in Group 1, and Mungret St. Paul's will face Kappa Rakil or Rakil Kappa to decide who will top that group. So both those teams assured of a semi-final spot. And in Group 2, Ula have won the group thanks to 2 wins, narrowly beating Father Casey's, and then they got a victory over Monaleen. And it'll be Casey's and Monaleen to decide the other knockout spot. They're meeting on Saturday, and a draw will be enough for Father Casey's, who had a slightly narrower defeat, shall we say, to Ula. This competition, a couple of clubs contacted me from the 6 that were in it in the last week or so, and frustrations growing, Matt, with regards to scheduling of fixtures. And I know that last weekend we saw 3 fixtures in one of the groups, all scheduled in consecutive days, which would have meant that one team would have played 2 games in 24 hours and another team would have played 2 in 48. So far from ideal, really, and this competition has kind of dragged on maybe a lot longer than people would have envisaged at the start.
Yeah, I was even saying it there to a lot of people last night, and I think there's a compelling argument here in this case for rescheduling some or all of this competition to earlier in the year. A club member from a club in the city brought me a blueprint last year, which I thought was very, very good. And I just repeat it again, Tom, and we've repeated it in the past in this forum, where by that the group stages would be played in possibly March, April, even if clubs were to be without their county players, and that all groups would consist of 4 teams, and that no one would be eliminated, and that would be just a seeding process. And that when you come back then at the end of October, you'd have your quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals, which would be straight and would be very, very clear cut. But obviously, there has been no decision taken, and I think a general look has to be taken at the whole football structure, Tom. And we've been saying this for a long, long time. I think the Senior Football Championship is as good a structure as you can possibly get. The big problem with the Senior Football Championship is that the haves and the have-nots seems to have emerged in it, in that you have 4 or 5 teams that appear to have gone ahead of the rest. Now, thank God for Mungret St. Paul's, well, not for their emergence.
They're now ahead of the rest, so I wonder how far ahead some of the teams there now.
Yeah, but it'll bring up the others, and you'd be hoping. And had they got a better start, I think Rathkeil were capable of crashing in around the top 4. They had a very disappointing start in that they lost to Monaleen in the first round, and they lost narrowly to Adair in the second round, and they were unbeaten after that with 2 wins and a draw. So you'd hope that they'd be building on it, but I think the structure for what you have is good. But when we come down to the Intermediate Football Championship, we're in trouble, Tom. We're in trouble. And I know you put forward the idea of having something akin to the Premier Intermediate Football Championship. You know, but you know, have we placed in the calendar? Sorry, the Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship. Have we placed in the calendar for a competition with 7 rounds? I don't think we have.
No, probably not. But there has to be some way of, even if it was brought to 8 and 2 groups of 4, and you play from there. And it might be fewer games, but less could mean more quality and more jeopardy and more. You know, I suppose what happened in many of the last few seasons is a team either withdrew or was effectively miles off the pace, and it took the sting out of a lot of games, because teams in the other group knew they wouldn't be relegated, and teams within that group knew that they only had to win one game and they would survive in the grade. So it's frustrating, I think, for those in around that grade, where it's not really a cutthroat competition that it may have been in the past.
You know, and you had self-relegation this year, if you like, you know, because Glen given a walkover in the semi-final of the relegation, and then, you know, announcing that they were also given a walkover in the final. That is self-relegation, and by extension, it's self-regulation of the competition. But I don't think that's something that's sustainable. I think doing nothing about this is not an option. And I think we need to look at the groups down along. Now, you know, you've heard about the C competition, that would be a plethora of
yeah. Well, I thought actually in all of the lower grades we would have a smattering of walkovers because of 15, 16 weeks in a row for some clubs, and there was a few. But to be fair, overall, I must commend the clubs and indeed the football board for getting them played. You know, when you look at it in totality, it wasn't that bad. The C competition, I would say, absolutely a success, and I'd say there will be interest in it, more interest in it now in 2026. So we'll see, you know, as time goes on, who's going to affiliate to that, because I'd say people looked at South Liberties and the joy that they brought, and some of the second teams, and will try and replicate that in their own clubs, and there'll probably be a clamour for some clubs to re-emerge into football as a result, you know. So it's you know, I think
it's spread the message, like Kilmallock fielded in the championship, Patrick's well fielded in the championship. You know, great hurling bastions, which was great to see, absolutely fantastic to see. Now I know Kilmallock gave a walkover at one stage and didn't feature in the knockout phase. Patrick's well did, and look, that was a success, but teams out of the intermediate championship, it could have a knock-on effect down along, and what we have now by having the C championship is we have a structure in place. If you were to, you know, shed 4 teams from the Premier Intermediate, and they'd be going down to Junior A,
I know.
Premier Junior, 4 more going down to Junior A, Junior B, and so on.
Yeah, that's true. I know, just like looking at and we won't get bogged down now in championship structures. It's not a discussion maybe for this time of the year, but I think the football, in fairness to them, they got all their finals played on the one weekend. There was very little disruption after the initial disruption of having, you know, the Tailteann Cup headache, the good headache that it was. And in fairness, they came out with a program of fixtures, got them played, very few disruptions. And I say that as a player and as a observer of these games, you know, it wasn't too bad. Once we knew when we were playing, it was fine, and I think they must be commended for that. I just wonder though that even the knock-on effect of the positive knock-on effect, I think, of moving teams down from intermediate to junior, if you moved a handful of them down, is that we would have maybe a stronger representative in Munster, which, you know, it's a competition that Limerick clubs have struggled at now for some time. You know, we haven't really set the world alight at that Munster junior grade for a number of years now. So there could be that too,
you think, you know, on the face of it, Askeaton, Palestine, Kilcornan did quite well against Ahablo, but they were beaten then by the Kerry champions. And like I was at the Ahan game where they played Buttevant, and I came away and I was saying to myself, God, you know, the junior football mightn't be as bad as we think in Limerick, because like but both of them were flattered by the winning margin that day. Had a hand scored the late penalty that they got, we could have had a different result. But then we see how Buttevant were overwhelmed by Ballymcgilligan, and it makes you go back to the drawing board once again. And rather than carrying most of the grades, it's carrying no one else.
Yeah, they really have a stranglehold on the grades, and look, they have much smaller championships as well. I know they probably have still claimed they have smaller clubs too, but they have much smaller championships that are sending, I suppose, in the ranking system, a stronger team into the intermediate and junior grades. But anyway, just to come back to
there could be another spanner in the works now, because you saw the demographics report during the week, and I'm hearing that there could be motions brought to Congress to establish under 11 and under 13 competitions.
11 and 13.
Sorry, 11 aside and 13 aside. Such harebrained at this stage. I think that type of fragmentation is just off the wall. I think it's
I think it's more likely to see clubs merging together and
stronger units is the way forward in my view.
The concern we'd have in Limerick, and it was flagged to us, Gerald Griffins and Lynn are probably two clubs, and I wouldn't know an awful lot about their playing pool, but it was flagged to us by others who'd be more in the know, and there is a real lack of adult male players in those two clubs, and there's there had been murmurings of a merger. I don't know how far that's got, but it's not inconceivable that type of amalgamation could happen in the not too distant future. And the same for there's other contingents around the county, particularly in the extremities of the county and the west, and maybe in the south as well, where clubs just don't have the playing population that they once had.
There are, and I think that's the way forward. And have we a situation in the south already where one team is opting for hurling and the other is opting for football?
Yeah. It was confirmed to us. I think it's probably no secret now that Camogue appear to be withdrawing their interest in hurling for now, at least anyway. And Bruff, as we know, had already moved away from football. So two clubs in the one parish, a large geographical parish as the Bruff Grange Meanis parish is, and there'll be one club focusing on hurling and one on football. And I think they had their AGM which helped decide that. So interesting times ahead for those two clubs. And look, given the successes that Camogue had this year, I think there's probably a bit of wise stuff at play there. And Bruff now are obviously trying to push their way back up towards senior hurling and build on the successes they had at underage in the last few years as well.
Yeah, the Dunrue Ballinanders model is one that I'm very, very familiar with, and it's akin to the Doon Ura model.
Yeah, Gary Spillane and Galbally is another one.
Gary Spillane and Galbally are others. They've been very, very, very successful, but I know it mightn't always dovetail that comfortably in that you'd probably have a lot of clubs that joining clubs in particular that might be football only, and it would have to be an amalgamation for one code, if you know what I'm saying, rather than say one taking hurling and the other taking football. That won't be always possible. But like it's this 11-13 aside, that's harebrained stuff.
No, I just don't see it. It's particularly in Limerick anyway. I know Kerry has a particularly pronounced problem in the south of the county. So look, it might be something that a bylaw at local level, but I couldn't see it happening in Limerick. I think an 11-a-side game of football in particular would be farcical, to say the least. It wouldn't work in my view. It would be I know playing 11-a-side soccer is about right, but the pitch is 3 times the size of it. 11-a-side Gaelic football, not sure about that. Anyway, back to the action on the field, Matt. Just back to that under 20s championship. So as we know, Mungard St. Paul's are through, Kappa Rathkeil are through, and they'll be playing against Ula. And one of Father Casey's and Mona Lean. It's probably the familiar enough faces at this grade. Disappointing, I think, overall, that there's only 6 teams in the Premier Football grade. We've had in the past, when there was 21s, there was sometimes 8 and 10 teams in it, but to go down to 6, we only had 4 at minor Premier as well. So it's frustrating times maybe for those organising the competitions, the clubs are probably not interested in competing at the top table.
Yeah, but I think from a Limerick point of view, but not focusing on one club, because they did particularly well at minor as well this year and have qualified with 2 straight wins. Ula, there are signs of a re-emergence of Ula, and over at that end of the county, it would be certainly very, very welcome. I thought at times this year that they're seeing a team look good, but of course they didn't get the results that they were hoping for, and the injury to Josh Ryan might scupper that going forward. And we wish Josh the very best of luck with his recovery. What I saw about Ula and the senior team, I was very, very impressed with their younger players now, and I think we've had discussed this, and there will be 3 or 4 of them eligible now for the under 20. Like I'm thinking now, the goalkeeper Keane McGrath said, you've Shane O'Grady, you've Tommy Ryan, you've Fionn Roach. These lads, they're very, very good footballers, and they will be backboning the under 20 team. So it's nice, because Father Casey's, Mungret, Monaleen, they've been there all the time, but it's nice to see Ula emerging and breaking into that, gate crashing into that top 4 club, for the want of a better description.
Yeah, that's very true, and I suppose there's connections to senior for all the clubs there. They're all, I think, basically senior clubs in O'Kappa, and not quite, but they're dovetailing with Rathkeale on it. So look, that's the Premier grade you mentioned. In the under 20A in Group 1, Ballylanders and the Piercing straight. I think a straight shoot to see who'll join Drumbradford, who have the Group 1. A draw enough for Ballylanders, as far as I'm aware, because of their superior scoring difference. So we'll see how that one plays out in Group 2.
I'm not sure it is, Tom. In the Piercing ran up a very big score on a day.
Right, I'll just check it here, but I was maybe I wrote it down the wrong way around, but
of course, I'm not thinking about the matches they lost.
Yeah, I think they're in a slightly better position. But anyway, look, we'll look. Then they're going to go. No one's going to go out to draw a game of football anyway. They're going to want to win. The winner will go through. Let's just say that. And Drumbradford have already.
They go through with Drumbradford, second to Drumbradford.
Yeah, in Group 2, then Galtee Gales have 2 wins. Shannon Gales have 2 wins and a defeat, and Ahan have a win and a loss. So I couldn't work this one out short notice, but Ahan will host Galtee Gales this Saturday. Clahan are already out. This is the final game, and it will decide who's through. Now, I'm not sure what a defeat for Galtee Gales does or whatever, because you could end up with 3 teams on the victories. Probably end up scoring difference between them. I think football championships in Limerick have that, so I'm not overly sure, but basically, if Galtee Gales win away to Ahan, that'll take care of things. But if Ahan win, then it'll be probably time to get out the calculator. Yeah, that's it. That's in the 20s group, 20A Group 2, and in Group or under 20B championship, Skeet Ballysean Kilcornan versus Hospital. The winner will go through. Hospital Herbestown, that is. So the winner will go through. They will join St. Kieran's, who've already advanced as group winners with 3 from 3. The loser will be out. Camogue will give a walkover in their last game, having lost their first 2 outings. In Group 2, St. Pat's won the group. There was only 1 game played. This is the group you were referencing, Matt, in recent weeks. St. Pat's, they won the group. The only game played 5-9 to 3-6 against Killacollow Gales. All, would it be 6 other games, 5 other games, I think?
Yeah, they were all walkovers.
All walkovers, yeah. Group 3, St. Senans against Galbally. Both are true, and a winner at the weekend will decide who tops the pile. Group 4, so this is a 4-group competition. Pallasgreen will face South Liberty's Crocora. 2 wins already for Pallasgreen. South Liberty's a win and a loss. And they will need a win. South Liberty's Crocora, that is, to get into the top 2, and a win for Palace will put them through alongside Grana, Ballingarry and Croom, who are amalgamated at this. So look, we'll see how those will play. A lot of them on Saturday, I believe. I know there's probably a lot of variables in those.
I think the whole thing will be sorted for the knockout stage
by Sunday evening, yeah, or Saturday,
by
yeah.
Saturday evening, Tom. But there's a further complication with the B Championship in that you have quarterfinals.
Yeah, so it's 2 from each group to make 8, which
Yeah.
would make cross-group quarterfinals. Yeah, so they've an extra game to play between now and Christmas, really, on top of concluding the groups. Just as we've referenced it for a number of weeks now, the walkover situation. Looked at it, no walkovers in the Premier. Clahan, they lost one game heavily against the Hand, and they withdrew from their other 2 games. Camogue lost narrowly in their second game, so they played 2, lost 2. Then they gave a walkover. In the under 20B, Cappamore, Ballybrickenbowermore, Fettermore, they withdrew without playing. Ballybrown withdrew without playing. Newcastle West, they got a walkover. They lost the game, and then they gave a walkover. They pulled out of the competition basically. And Galbally, who are actually through, I think, got a walkover from Newcastle West. And in Group 4, Belleville Gales withdrew, so didn't play any of their 3 games. So it's down at the B where the real problem is, Matt. But I don't know, are people just really weary or lack of interest at this time of year? But it's not.
Yeah,
it's
you, that's a factor as well, Tom. And we spoke earlier on in the podcast about the situation with the pitches. You said it's nearly a perfect storm at this stage. Like, first of all, you had the lead into it with the Tarleton Cup disrupting the fixtures, the whole football schedule, and now you're absolutely very inclement weather and bad weather, and there's certain amount of weariness among clubs, Tom, at this stage. Plus the fact that a lot of guys are back in college and with continuous assessment and schools and all this sort of thing, and the necessity of having to play games in midweek, it's very, very difficult to get guys home from college and all that sort of thing. So there's a whole list of logistics that they all militate to create a perfect storm.
Yeah, they do. And look, I think the frustration from some clubs is that the scheduling has been done at very, very short notice. Trying to get lads up from Cork and Galway and Dublin has been a real challenge, and lads with jobs as well, trying to work around that. That is where the frustration, I think, really does lie with some clubs on this. Okay, but look, we'll keep an eye on that as next week, and indeed as it comes to the concluding stages. Just have a look at what's coming, I suppose, in early January in 2026. Actually, in fact, we'll look at what's coming this weekend, Matt, in the form of the All-Ireland Champions. And I hate to say the word All-Ireland Champions and then not be followed by the word Limerick, but it's All-Ireland Champions Tipperary, who will host Limerick in Fethard this Saturday evening. It's a 6 p.m. throw-in between the 2 counties in what is a charity fundraiser in aid of the Dylan Quirk Foundation. So big game and prospect in one regard for regards to charity, and an ideal opportunity for supporters to get out and see what's brewing from John Kiley and co in the very, very early part of this 25-26 season, if you like.
Yeah, I can take you out of your description dilemma somewhat, Tom, by saying the All-Ireland champions and their heir apparent. So
that's the job. Get it in early. We get it in at the 11th of December, Or
so it would be. It'll be very interesting, and I would think that we will have, because it is for the Dylan Quirk Foundation and the worthiness of the cause and the whole sadness behind the whole thing. I think John Kiley is going to give it huge respect, and most of the respect he can give it will be to field some of our top players. I can see that happening. I can see a pretty strong team going to Fethard on Saturday evening, depending on availability and all that sort of thing. Now, obviously, he will be looking at a couple of players with one eye on the trip to Tulare in the new year in the Munster Senior League. But I think, and I would probably be saying the same for Kerry, that who are playing in the football in Fethard, that they will probably come with a strong team as well because of what it's for. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll give us some sort of a hint, Tom, as to what kind of a team will be available for the Munster Senior League. And like with just 2 games in the Munster Senior League, the group stages, and let's hope we'll have a final to take us nicely into the league. Now, we were buying the first round of the league before we travel to Waterford. And Certainly the next couple of games, Tom, will give us an idea of what John's thinking is, and certainly we've been listening to this one and that one has joined the panel and all that sort of thing, and I think we'll get a very definite idea of who's in and who's out of the panel, certainly who some of the newcomers are over the next couple of games.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, so it's Saturday at 6 p.m. against Tipp. Then it will be Clare in the Munster Hurling League, the returning Munster League Hurling League, on the 3rd of January. That's at the moment penciled in for a 2 p.m. start in Tulla. I presume there's an asterisk beside that, and it's weather permitting. Tulla have fine facilities there, but yeah, I tell you, we'll see how the weather goes in the next few weeks. And then on January 7th, Limerick will return to the TOS Gaelic grounds. For the first time since that dreaded penalty shootout lost to Cork, to face Cork in the second round of that. And then it will be the group winners on either side, 2 groups of 3. So the group winners from that will go straight to the final. So on the other side, you have Tipperary, you have Waterford, and you have Kerry. So let's see who will emerge from that. You mentioned the league, Matt. Yeah, Limerick have 2 home and 3 away. They're at home in rounds 3 to Kilkenny and round 6 to Cork, and then they have away games with Waterford.
No, they're at home to Cork in round 6 and home to Galway in round 7.
Oh, sorry.
3 home and 3 away.
3 home and away. Sorry, I didn't put down round 7 here for some reason. Sorry, 3 home and 3 away. Yeah, so the away games are Waterford in round 2, Tipp in round 4, and Offaly in round 5. And as you said, they get a bye in round 1, so it's all getting underway on the 1st of February in the Allianz League for Limerick with a trip to Waterford for the 2 p.m. start, which I believe is a Sunday. So a couple of Saturday games, a couple of Sunday games, and a couple of nice away trips as well there. So plenty for supporters to whet their appetite really for the championship later in the spring. But yeah, so it should be exciting times. I suppose we don't really want to speculate on the squad too much till we see it down in black and white, and then we can start to see, who might make it. So will be certainly cuts from, the Dillon Cork game probably to between then and the league, and we'll have been given three if not 4 opportunities to see who the movers and shakers are at that juncture.
Absolutely, that's what it's something that John Kiley didn't have last year, nor indeed any manager had last year, with the discontinuation of the pre-season games, that they hadn't the opportunity to run the rule over who might or who might not make the panel. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. I've had the list of names. Like if all the people that I had were called up, I don't know how John Kiley is going to sort them out, but an awful lot of it is speculation.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, plenty of rumours, and I know everyone is firing names out saying, "Is this fella in? Is that fella in?" But we'll wait to see it down in printed form. Just to move to the football, Matt, they are in the, I was going to say the Munster Football League, but the McGrath Cup, as it's actually known as. I'm after losing the fixtures here now on myself. Remind us.
Tipperary at home and Cork away. That's basically it.
Yeah, Tipperary on the 2nd of January. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's in McNiven Park.
Yeah, and then away to Cork.
We confirmed, I think.
Yeah. Let's see how it comes out.
I believe that the McGrath Cup, and I've said it here, and at the risk of being repetitive, Tom, the McGrath Cup was formed originally and contested originally by the 4 so-called weaker counties in the province, and I think there was no cogent reason whatsoever from departing from that, but it has been hijacked now by Cork and Kerry, so it's in many ways only a reflection of the Munster Championship.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I promise you, Tom, I'm not going to say it anymore.
No, fair play. Limerick did win it in 2020 against Cork, and hopefully they can channel some of that energy in 2026. Okay, their league games as well, Matt, just to move to that, they're starting a week earlier than the hurlers, so they're away to Laois in Port Laois on the 24th of January. They have Down coming down to McNiven Park.
No, all the football league games are in McNiven Park. I checked that last night.
Yeah, 4 home games in McNiven Park, I should say. They're at home to Down, Wexford, Clare and Fermanagh. And I suppose logistically Limerick didn't do too bad. Port Laois is not the worst trip in the world. Sligo a lot more approachable than it used to be, and Mullingar, you'd kind of take that when you have when you have Down and Fermanagh in your group, to be getting them at home and to be getting that extra home game as well is it's probably not too bad for Jimmy Lee's men. Although Matt, as we pointed out during the year, they did travel quite well. They only lost one game outside of Limerick all of 2025. That was the Talton Cup final. So they were good on the road all year with Limerick. So
it wouldn't change the way Noah will definitely be on the Limerick team starting out anyway. Will be the loss of Josh Ryan, which is going to be huge.
That's for sure. But an opening
big
in the
call for
goals.
Jimmy.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, you'd have had Ronan McGilligan and
Jeffrey
Alford as the two last year. Jeffrey played in round 7 of the league. I think it was his only league or championship appearance. I'm pretty sure it was the only one Josh didn't play in. So he's probably heir apparent at the moment. But then again, we don't know what Jimmy has seen in the last few weeks, or indeed from the club scene, that might change that tune. But it's interesting.
By God, he's seen a lot in the club scene because he was everywhere.
Yeah. Couldn't move from. He was at all sorts of games around the county. So fair play. Okay, Matt. I don't have much else on my agenda here, unless you have anything else to mention at this juncture. But
no, just to pass a vote of sympathy to John Galvin of Coombe on the passing of his wife. John has given great service to Limerick at an administrative level over the years, and indeed pass a vote of sympathy to his son John. To her son John, who was one of Limerick's greatest footballers and who has been awarded inducted into the Munster Hall of Fame, coincidentally in the coming weeks. And our deepest sympathy to John, the two Johns, and indeed all the Galvin family on the passing of Mrs. Galvin.
Yeah, very well said. Just as well to mention, just the fundraiser as well for Milford Care Centre from our friends Liam O'Brien and co at Cumnig Limnock. They're doing Cumnig for cancer raffle in aid of Milford Centre. They've upwards of 15, I think maybe 17 or 18 prizes now, including the top prize, which is Kyle Hayes' match-worn shirt from the 2025 Munster final. So a very, very good prize there, and a very, very worthy cause. Tickets available there online. I'm sure if you just do a quick Google of that Milford Care Centre raffle, you'll find it. It's all 24th. So someone's Christmas will be coming a fraction or two early on the 24th when they get news that Kyle Hayes' jersey will be on their way to them. So you can get involved for as little as €5, and tickets available in varying different amounts there as well. So do support the lads' latest endeavours to give a little bit back, and at this case